Hello, everyone. What is going on? James here. Welcome back to the Banterous Hour with fellow co-host TGC, Mr. Liam, in the house.
Hello there. Good to be back.
And today, as you can tell by the title, we're talking Hacksaw Ridge 2016 film starring Andrew Garfield. And to be honest, before this film, I'd only watched him in like the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man No Way Home and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I will quickly check if I've seen any of his other films. I always thought he was an American geezer as well until I watched an interview. I was like, damn, he's got a thick London accent, a posh London accent. But
yeah, I think he was born in America and then they moved here. I think when he was like,
yeah. I mean, looking at all these films that he's been, I haven't seen hardly. I don't think I've seen any of them, to be honest. Apart from Hacksaw Ridge and Spider-Man ones, I haven't seen any of them. And the Spider-Man ones, I thought to myself, bro, this dude, like he can act all right, but he can't act absolutely amazing. And Liam, I don't know how you're going to feel. I know you like the Fugitive, but I don't know how you're going to feel towards Hacksaw Ridge. But I didn't want to say this, but the film does actually mean quite a lot to me. But you have disagreed with me on things that I'm a big fan of. So if you don't think Hacksaw Ridge is good, that's completely fair. I don't think you'll be able to bamboozle me as much as you did with the Chocolate with Nuts episode, where you completely broke my system when I was like, because I was so confident in my head. I thought Liam would just say it's an average episode. He'll just go, "This is an average episode. I'm not that bothered about it. I didn't find it that funny. Average dog stand episode." But instead, you were like, "Crap," you know. I was like, I was even talking to Scott about it on one of the Disney podcasts. Oh. I just saw that light come across my screen then. The thing is, my curtains aren't open, so I don't get how that light came in. That was really, I've never seen anything like that before happen. My light behind me isn't acting up or anything. It's completely, the ring light's completely fine. So I don't know what's going on. That was really strange. Did you see that light come behind me?
I don't think so. No.
For anything. But yeah, I was talking with Scott about on the last Disney review, and he was like, we were saying like, you know, it started the mob, the fans of SpongeBob were going mad, saying, "How dare you say that about this episode?" You know, going mad. Express your honest opinions on film. So Hacksaw Ridge, I'll say what I thought of the intro. So when you first start it, you just think, what are these kids doing on a cliff? And then you're thinking, what on earth is going on? But then obviously Desmond and his brother are fighting each other, player fighting. And then you can see that Hugo Weaving their dad, Tom, that's his name. He's just some drunk bloke, and he's saying to his missus, "Oh well, I don't have to beat them if they beat each other." And then he throws a brick at his brother, and then or he hits him with a brick or something. I don't know. No, I think, yeah, hits him with it, and his brother's knocked out, and you can see why. And this sets in that I don't want to hurt or kill anyone. I don't want to be violent at all. Type of mentality from him, because he goes through something so traumatic, seeing his brother nearly die, and he's just locked in on the "thou shalt not kill" on the photo. He's just locked in on that. And while his dad's saying, "You know, I have to beat you now," in slow motion, then his mom's going and saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? This, you want to teach him it's all sunshine and rainbows? Well, that's fine." So, yeah, that was a bit of a dark opening. But then we get some more, I don't know, more like jolly stuff, I guess. Basically, he saved someone's life who didn't. Did they get shot, or did they get hit by a car or something, or the person's life? And
yeah, he takes his belt off and sort of seals I guess he kind of seals the wound with it, doesn't he? Or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
In the hospital that I don't know, like well done or whatever. You've probably saved his life or whatever by doing that.
Yeah. I don't get why they make it so hard to find film scripts online. Like, who the hell is going to remember every single thing that bloody happens in a film? Pity's sake.
Mm.
I think the script. Wow. Oh, but then so it comes up with 105 pages, but then it says you have to subscribe to read the rest of it. Bloody,
of course,
kiss my ass is what I say to that website. Oh dear, it's all just bloody. It's all just bloody nonsense. Oh, I found. Oh, okay. I think this might be the right one now. It doesn't actually tell you who's talking, which is very helpful. But I can probably guess who's talking. Literally, all it is just like line, 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 line. It doesn't say like what the character's doing in brackets. Oh, pity's sake! So the doctor says, "Good job. You may have saved the." That's his missus talking, isn't it? The doctor, Dorothy.
Is she a doctor or nurse? Or...
Oh, she's a nurse, isn't she? Yeah. Oh wait. Oh no. Okay, it hasn't come up with something daft. Where does he say? He says he's just standing there, right? And he says medical examination. Here to donate blood. You're good? Oh no, it's not mine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking, miss. And then she's like, what do you need? My belt. I put it to the boy who had the accident. My pants are not very well without it. Well, I have your belt. Well, I haven't got your belt. Yes, I know, miss. Is that in the boy? It's in there with the boy. Okay, I'm here to take blood. I'll give you mine. All right then. And I just feel like their relationship. I know, like obviously, a lot of films have to rush through relationships, but I feel like they did. I feel like they did a good job with the time that they had. They both bounced off each other really well. It was pretty wholesome and cool. He just did his best to pull the moves on her, and it seemed to work. To be honest, which was pretty cool. You're real happy for him. And he's always trying to get her to kiss him. Playful banter, saying like, "Oh, it'll cost you a kiss," and all that stuff. He's just he's what a Chad really should be,
Mm.
Oh, only you.
No.
Oh no, I don't just come up with the rest of the film. I thought it only came on one page again. But yeah. So this is too hard to follow. I'm just gonna bloody try and remember what I can remember about it, because literally all it is line, 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 and it doesn't tell you who's talking. So straight away he decides to join the military, and he's like, I'm going to be I'm going to be a pacifist fighter type person, a conscientious objector, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you think, well, how's he going to pull that one off? How's he going to do this, man? This is like some wild stuff. Like, you have to kill people in war, or at least be prepared to fight with a gun. And he trains real hard, but then when the sergeant comes in, the military scene's quite funny. Like, you got some bloke who was lifting and doing pull-ups, and he's bloody naked.
Oh,
what the hell was that all about?
Yeah, I know. There's some strange stuff there.
Yeah, I was like, I'm guessing that's probably what actually happened, because they're not just going to put something weird like that in the film. Desmond Doss, the real life Desmond Doss, probably said there was some naked guy in naked.
I know with like Hollywood films, like sometimes the stuff is like exaggerated, or like there's some stuff that's added. But yeah, you'd assume if it's based on a true story, a lot of this was probably real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to see enough horrors in war. I don't really want to see some naked dude doing pull-ups, to be honest. If I was a soldier back then. But I like how the sergeant just rips into everyone. He says, "You look like a ghost!" to that tall bloke with a sunken face. I was like, bloody hell, he's horrible. I'm going to call you fool!
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I found the bit. How long have you been dead for, son? Mister, I'm not, sir. Soy, Sorrento, Hall. Oh, sir. Lord tells useless people. Your name is Carl, said. This doesn't even make sense. I'm going to show you this script. Bro, it doesn't. I don't mean to keep referring back to a script, but it doesn't even grammatically make sense. Look at some of this stuff. It doesn't even make sense. Mister, I'm not, sir. And then it says, like, bloody. Where was it? There's some really strange line which didn't make sense. Oh, he's talking about the bloke who bloody lost his shot, was playing a game with his knife and it went into his shoe. Oh well, there was some weird bit, but I just can't remember where it was now. Oh yeah, he's saying, "Let me hear your war cry."
Oh yeah, to the other, yeah.
To madness, absolute madness.
Mm.
But yeah, I like how, you know, Desmond Doss, he puts the work in, he grafts, but then they say you got to pick up a gun, and he refuses to pick up a gun. You got to respect how he just sticks by his morals absolutely through thick and thin, no matter what. And they're all going mad at him, and they're trying to make his life harder, and they're just saying, "Look, there's no shame in quitting, son." After he got beaten up by those soldiers, and then he just says, "You know, no, I've got to keep going. I've got some stuff I need to do today. I've got to keep going." He didn't want to quit, and then he ends up getting taken to court and all this stuff. And one of the high-ranking people there, he was saying, like, you know, "You're gonna cost me my men's lives" and all that stuff. And you know, Desmond still sticks by his morals. He doesn't cave in at all. He even goes to court. He's even prepared to go to jail. All he had to do was give the word, and he can live his happy life with his missus and not go to war because he's conscientious. I can't say the word.
Pacifist.
Yeah, I'm going to say a pacifist from now on.
Yeah.
So, because he's a pacifist, he can't. Like, he could easily just ride off into the sunset and have a laugh with his missus, but he chooses not to. He even misses the wedding because of it, and he's like, you know, they're putting me in jail just for saying I don't want to hold a weapon, but I still want to help. You know, so you just admire him and you really root for him to pull this off because he wants to fight for his country so badly. And Schmitty's horrible to him. He slaps him and says, "You think you're better than us? What are you going to do?" And starts slapping him. You know, even though Schmitty ends up being mates with him at the end. But I've talked a lot about this intro and the first part of the film. What's your thoughts on the intro and the first part of the film?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think the very start of the film, I think it shows like sort of like near the end of the film, doesn't it? It shows them in the battle. I think at the very start, like some films do, where they show you like an event that happens, like I don't know, in the climax or near the end, and then eventually it gets to that point in the plot after going back a certain amount of time. Yeah, like I suppose it's good. And I guess like the two brothers like fighting was a bit, you know. And then of course he hits the other one with a brick. But I don't know whether the other brother was strangling him. I know one of them had the one on the floor at one point, but
yeah,
I don't know, they're really going at each other. But and the mom did, you know, wanted them to stop, and the dad didn't care. And, so that you know, a bit. I suppose, you know, a bit shocking when he hits him with a brick. But you know, but then of course, you know, the brother's going to be okay. And then yeah, I guess it was interesting, yeah, just seeing him. To be fair, there's a bit of foreshadowing as well, like when that person gets hit by the car, and he comes out to help. It's foreshadowing the fact that he wants to be a medic, a combat medic, because he's and he knows, like, you know, what to do, like by getting his belt and, you know, putting it over the wound or whatever. Yeah, I suppose, you know, it's a lot of good stuff, really. And I guess when I get to the fort, like, it's a lot of like that army stuff, and the captain, you know, doing the typical shouting in all their faces and insulting them and all that. And and that's Vince Vaughn, the captain. He's been in decent
was
stuff.
it?
There's quite a few big names in this. Yeah, Hugo, like you said, Hugo Weaving's the dad, so that was a bit of a surprise to see him. Yeah. Some shocking stuff at the fort as well. Like, to think a lot of it probably did happen, like you say as well. Like when they like, it's probably not the intro, but like you say, when a bunch of them beat him up when he's in bed as well. Like, that's pretty, like, you know, really scummy stuff, to be fair. And of course, like you say, the other one who comes to respect him, you know, he just slap him once the one time, but I think he comes to kind of start to respect him after that encounter.
Yeah, because he realizes that he's serious. He's not just trying to think he's better than everyone. This is genuinely what he absolutely wants.
Yeah, and he does actually say, or sort of have a bit of a go at the others who are beating him up, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of a little bit, but I mean, yes, yeah, it's good setup, and of course, you see this relationship with is she called Dorothy? You said that relationship develop, and I think it's good. It's I think the relationship's executed pretty well too, and yeah, so yeah, it's good stuff, really. Yeah.
So obviously after that, he goes to court and it's getting pretty serious. He could end up going in bloody jail. But instead of ending up in jail, what happens is his dad gets a letter from the I think it's like from the high up general, or he gets the general to get like something from the president, like a note from the government to say like Desmond Doss can go to war and he doesn't have to hold a firearm. So that's really good. That's cool. It's like he had all the odds against him, and in the nick of time, his dad comes to help him. It was pretty cool. And obviously, his dad has to leave the courtroom, and he just goes before Desmond can even say thanks to him. But I do understand why his dad's so sad about everything, because he lost all his best friends in World War One, and he just hasn't got over it. He was the one who survived, and he's just really fed up. His family can't make up for his lost friends. All he just does is turn to the booze. And now that he's going to lose his sons as well, it's like, he's just like, he probably just wants to numb himself and just forget about everything if he can. So yeah, he didn't even stick around to say bye-bye to Desmond, which is a bit of a shame. And then they go to war, and they're all, you see all the fresh soldiers going in on the trucks, and you're seeing all the ones that are really hurt and messed up and have, bad bruises or lost limbs or are completely out of it, or they're deaf or whatever, or even worse, or they're dead. You know what I'm saying? So you're seeing what pretty much it's more foreshadowing as to what's going to happen to all these soldiers. And you're thinking in your head, like, is this even going to work? Like, how's he going to go up there, fight the Japanese? Well, obviously he's not going to fight the Japanese, but he's going to be a medic and all that stuff. And I mean, I'm pretty sure it felt like he was the only medic there for a bit. I know there's two of the medics who speak to him before, but it felt like in that battle he was like the only medic there. Obviously, he was very fortunate that he didn't get killed at all. But obviously, Schmidt, he nearly got killed, but he ran at that one Japanese bloke, tackled him, and then Schmidt shot the Japanese bloke and saved Desmond's life. But that whole battle sequence was crazy, like all the gunfire exploding, when the soldiers were getting set on fire. That whole sequence was very moving and crazy, and it's just mad how like they shot all that, and at the same time there's also scenes where he's got to talk and act and actually like try and help the people who are injured and all that, and all these. There's obviously soldiers that kill people are portrayed as quite tough. But I think what he's doing requires a ridiculous amount of toughness because he's not holding the weapon, and you've got to try and calm down people who are screaming and like in agony and saying help, 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 and all that stuff. It takes a lot of guts and mental toughness and composure. And it was. I really respected the scene when that one geezer's like, give him some morphine and then move on to the next person. He's dead. And then Desmond Doss is like, you don't know that. You don't know that. I thought, what a legend. He's really he's really valuing the soldier's life. Granted, if your legs get blown off and all the dirt's getting into such a gigantic wound, I mean, unfortunately, you pretty much are dead, or you're going to die of an infection afterwards, or you need a serious operation to stop the infection. But the thing is, it's not about whether that soldier survived or not. It's about Desmond's effort to try and help him, to try and get the ball rolling for him, to value life, like he did. But like I said, I really enjoyed that whole sequence. And obviously, they all have to retreat, and he goes back up there, and he's like trying to get as many people as possible. He's the last one that's up there at one point, and he's just saying, "Lord, what do you want me to do?" And then he hears someone go, "Help!" And then he's going and rescuing people. And with I forgot to mention this, but it was funny how they mocked him for tying the rope like a pair of breasts. But that's actually what saved all the soldiers, because the way the rope was tied and they were hanging in that rope. So that was pretty funny and cool.
More foreshadowing, I guess.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed, that whole sequence. I like as well how he helped a Japanese person as well who was injured. That was pretty noble and ballsy. And there's so much tension, the bit where he pulls the body on top of himself and then he puts the dirt all over the other person, and it's just his eye looking through the dirt, and you see the Japanese people and you think, bloody hell, how's he going to get away with this one? And then the Japanese bloke stabs a knife into the dead body, and you think, damn, well, obviously that didn't kill Desmond Doss, otherwise we wouldn't have the film. Especially considering there's an interview of him at the end. But who knows? I mean, there are films based on true stories where people do, where the true story of the person who's in the true story dies. That's just how somewhat happy ending. I'd still say it's quite bittersweet because he loses a lot of his friends still. I was so gutted Schmitty died, but it is what it is. I suppose that's what happened to the person in real life, and they've got to tell the story that way. They can't change history. It'd be a mockery if they did. But yeah, the bits where he's like, just help me get one more. Just help me get one more. It was really moving, really amazing moving stuff. What do you think about a lot of that section in the film?
Yes, this is basically like the second half, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the first half of the film is his childhood, the troubled upbringing, and then he meets Dorothy, and then he enlists himself to go, to fight, and then there's all the fort stuff and whatever, and the court. Like you say, it's inspiring that he's so nothing can shake what he believes. He's determined not to hold a gun, use a firearm, take a life. He'd rather I think he did say something along the lines of he wants to save lives rather than take them. And yeah, he ended up getting his wish as to be a combat medic, in court eventually, thanks in part to his dad. That one, I think that one he got the favour from. He said his dad said he fought with him in France. Still in World War One. And then it jumps to Okinawa, doesn't it? And they see, like I say, all the dead bodies, and then the survivors meet them in the barracks or whatever, and the medics go straight to him, and they sort of give him some advice, like the medic sign thing is like a bullseye for them, or the white is, and whatever. And then one of the others is like, I mean, they haven't experienced this, the horrors of war yet, but one of the others is asking that medic, like, what was it like, or something like that. And then he doesn't answer him straight away, the medic, and then he says it again in a bit of a, rude kind of way. you know,
Yeah, because it's
as if
horrible out
he's
there. Isn't it?
as if he's like a bit of like an ignorant way. And of course, you know, that medic, he's been there, he's experienced it, and whatever. And then yeah, it goes to the battle, doesn't it? We see a lot of like I say, this half is much more action heavy, and it's actually quite it's quite shocking. It's very like I say, very raw, violent. A lot of like limbs flying off and soldiers just getting blown to pieces. And I remember there's even one point as well, the one he said plays. You say Schmitty?
Yeah, Schmitty. Yeah.
What show is that? Like, what show is that, or something? You know, that he was played that character, or whatever.
Oh, where are we?
Because I do recognise that actor, but I can't remember what else he's been in.
I'm trying to find Schmitty on here. No. Luke Bracey plays Schmitty.
Okay. Do you know what the what show or film is the character Schmitty in now? I'm just wondering.
Oh, Schmitty's his nickname in Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, in the film, sorry. Oh, I didn't realise. I know
Yeah.
I know some of them had nicknames, to be fair.
Yeah, I can't remember his real name. I just
okay.
remember him as Schmitty.
Oh, okay. I remember at one point he.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. That's his real name. It says Schmitty Riker. So Schmitty is his real name. It's not a nickname. I never knew.
Oh, Riker's his surname is okay.
Yeah.
Because Desmond's is Doss, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Is it Doss?
Oh, bloody hell, he was in Elvis.
Oh.
He played. Who did he play? Jerry Schilling. I don't know who that is in regards to Elvis Presley.
I don't know. But there's one point in the battle where Schmitty, he uses a dead, I'm guessing, US soldier's like body as a human shield, doesn't he? Which is quite quite something to see. I guess in a way, you know, what else could he do in that situation? You know, as bad as shocking as it is to see. And he did manage to kill a lot of the Japanese as well. He was one of those characters who killed a lot of, and he lasted a while.
Yeah, he did well.
Yeah, but like you say, there's a lot of that, wasn't there? A lot of like just long action scenes where everyone's getting blown to pieces, and I think like the score, like the soundtrack's like a standout in this part of this half of the film as well, and really adds to like the impact and the dramatic nature of the film. And I think this is like this half of the film, I think, is like the best half of the film, really.
Yeah, I agree. But
really
I do like. I was going to say, I do like a war film that it isn't just all the war. You know what I'm saying? There's actually like, so like Full Metal Jacket. That's it's probably the best war film I've ever watched. However, I think I prefer Hacksaw Ridge. I feel like that's more moving and it's more of a positive watch. While Full Metal Jacket is more of like a gritty, sad film. I mean, in a sense, I suppose Hacksaw Ridge is worse because like there's a lot of people getting killed and all that stuff, but there's a lot of people surviving. Well, I know Full Metal Jacket is just like showing how difficult it's being a Marine, really. And yeah, but it's not, obviously it's not based on a true story. It's all just made up stuff. But I don't know. Like, I guess there's more. I don't know. I probably need to rewatch it actually because Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know. It's close between that and Hacksaw Ridge, but I remember feeling like Metal Jacket's like a potentially 9.5 or 10 out of 10 film. But I could be wrong. If I watch it now, I might not think it's as amazing as it was. But I probably watched it about like 3-4 times. I thought, bloody hell, this is like the best war film I've ever seen. But I like how a lot of it starts off in the training, and then they move to Vietnam, and the Vietnam sequence is brilliant as well. But and like I like with this, how it starts off with his life, him in training, him having to defy the odds and stick by his morals and stick to what he believes is right as a pacifist. And then obviously a lot of people are saying you're daft, and he sticks to it, and it works in the war, and it's actually based off a true story. So it's so nice that it all worked. Well, it's so amazing that it all worked out for him. And a lot of credit to Desmond right there for making it work, you know. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the film's just absolutely amazing, and I like the bit where you know, he makes it down when him and the other soldier jump off. I think it was him and the sergeant, wasn't it? Oh yeah, he goes to sergeant and he pulls him along this metal, and then he's going.
He uses the rifle, doesn't he, to pull him on the thing or whatever on the.
That was so cool. And he's going.
Yeah.
And then they both jump off. That was legendary.
Yeah.
That was so cool. And then the captain's being really respectful to Desmond, and he's like, I know that Saturday is your Sabbath, and but I was just, the men really want you up there. They think you're very good at what you do, and I was wrong about you. And I hope one day you can come to forgive me. You know, that was such a legendary scene. I nearly teared up at that scene. Like, I'm watching it second time. I was like, damn, it's so cool that like everyone has just come to respect this dude. And this dude, no matter what, has just stuck by his morals through thick and thin. And it just really warms my heart. I just think bloody hell. And especially as it's based on a true story, that there was a real dude who actually stuck by his morals, no matter what everyone said to him. Everyone was poo-pooing him and saying he was daft, but he still stuck by his morals and didn't cave into the social norm of killing people in war. So, and carrying a rifle. So, fair play to him. And then he goes up, and one of the guys like, "What are you waiting for?" And then he's like, "We're waiting for Desmond Doss to finish his prayer, sir." That was legendary. I was like, "Bro, this is just such cool stuff." That was probably one of my favorite scenes in any film ever.
They really like, you know, that I don't know, like I don't know, they've ended up like doing what he wants or whatever, or like I don't know, the tables, you know, have turned. They really have turned at that point, but
yeah, because at the start of the film, he's been sarky with him saying like, "Oh well, I'll make sure Germany don't attack you on Saturday," and then obviously now they're all like waiting for him to finish his prayer. So it's just really nice to see. One of my favorite scenes in any film, that just like a quick scene where they've all just come to respect him and they're all staring at him praying. I just thought very cool. And then when what happens to Desmond to make him need to go home? I know a grenade goes off.
Oh, like at the end of
yeah.
There's a part where they're like, I think this is like the last sort of gunfight. Like this is like, I think after the captain or whoever's spoke to him, apologized to him and said about like, we want you, men want you with them or whatever. And I think they're going for it. They're on the offensive, and they've got the Japanese on the back foot. And then I think there's a point where I think one of the Japanese puts up the white flag to surrender.
Oh yeah,
but it's kind of like a ruse, because then I think
they'll get the grenades out. Get up,
and they're all right on top of each other, the Americans and the Japanese, and then they start throwing them down, and then they, I think they're kicking one or two, and Desmond kicks one as well. Like, but it actually like looks really cool as well. Like when he kicks it, and the way it's shot, and then it just blows up, and it sort of injures him, doesn't it? So he's kind of, but he survives, which is nice. So
when he's saying my Bible, I thought, what a legend this guy is, man.
Oh yeah. And then you can see after that they get it, a soldier gets it,
yeah, and he's got the ball on him as he's being lifted away. Absolutely amazing. I would have liked an embrace, maybe like with his. I don't know if his brother survived. I'm not too honest. I'm going to look it up if he's.
No, didn't see him again, did we? After that one scene, which is quite a bit earlier on in the film.
Hold on. Harold Doss did not die in the war, though he was mistakenly listed as killed in action for a short period. He survived the US kamikaze attacks. Oh, so he's fine. That's pretty good then. Fair play. I'm glad that he survived that
I
one.
mean,
It's weird that he's not mentioned in the
yeah.
film.
I don't know. Yeah.
I would have liked to embrace scene with his brother and his dad and his mom, and with Dorothy. I would have liked to seen after, not just him getting carried away.
Yeah.
That
It
would
just
have been
ends there,
cool.
doesn't it? But
And then you get
yeah.
some brilliant interviews with Desmond, which I can't remember exactly what I said, but a lot of it, from what I remember, was confirming things that happened in the film, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the like key characters, yeah, talking. Yeah.
Before you say what you think, I just want to quickly give my score and just say, on my first watching, I would have probably given it an 8.5 out of 10, but watching it a second time, bro, it's a 9 out of 10. Amazing film. My personal favourite war film. As a personal ranking, when it comes to a subjective score, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely love the film as a personal score. But objectively, it's like a 9 out of 10, in my opinion. Yeah, paced really well. Great characters. Desmond Doss's arc's absolutely amazing. And it's based on a true story as well. Just really moving, powerful stuff. And really hit me in the heart. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Liam, have the floor.
Yeah, no, yeah, I thought it was a spectacular film. The second half, especially, was so very emotional, very, like I say, very raw. I mean, a lot of times, frankly, where a lot of times where, frankly, I did nearly tear up. Nearly did. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, like you were saying, I think it was necessary, not to just have, not just to have the whole film being like, the war, to see that build up and Desmond's arc and whatnot, and then the second half is like, we're finally here, we're at he can put his morals into practice and really show them, that he can be useful and whatnot, and of course in the when it was telling you at the end, I think it said he saved 75 wounded soldiers.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, like I say, it's I don't feel like I've watched loads of that many war films. Like I can only think of a few off the top of my head. There's still like watch Full Metal Jacket or Saving Private Ryan.
I mean, I won't lie. Saving Private Ryan, yeah, it's a bit. I mean, the first scene is absolutely something else, like next level, just completely blew me away, and one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in cinema. The rest of the film, though, is pretty damn great, but I don't think it's like the best film ever. Like at least the rest of the film, I don't think is the best film. Some of the best war stuff ever. It's still great stuff, but I feel like the opening scene carries it. The opening scene is like 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and the rest of it is just like a great film, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah.
It is. I don't think it's based on a true story, though. I will quickly look it up. But I think you probably no, it's not based on a true story. But it was inspired by a real life story of the Neil brothers. But I think you'd enjoy it. Full Metal Jacket. I think you probably get. I honestly think you get quite fed up at Full Metal Jacket. I think you just be like, "What the hell's this?" I could be wrong, but I feel like because although I find it hilarious and moving in some aspects, I feel like you just be a bit like, well, what's going on here? What's this all about? Why is this happening? Well, this is just a bit cruel. Yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly is absolutely amazing, Full Metal Jacket. It's probably my second, when it comes to personal favourites, it's my second favourite military film. It really is brilliant, but I just feel like you'd be a bit, I just feel like although Hacksaw Ridge is quite depressing, you've got like Desmond Doss's like mentality, which sort of keeps it positive. This, I think, you get quite fed up and annoyed at, to be honest. But I think it's still worth a watch. I mean, it is brilliant. You could like it, but it's just what I think. And then there's other decent like Apocalypse Now, for example. I think you'd actually find that one boring. Apocalypse Now is a great film, but I don't think it's like some of the best stuff ever. But I think you'd honestly find it boring. I'm surprised George likes it, man, because it doesn't make sense. Like, he found the 12 Monkeys boring and was like a 3 out of 10, but yet Apocalypse Now he thought was amazing. It's like, bro, that takes a way more effort to put your attention to Apocalypse Now, so I don't really understand. And the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, that was one of the most boring things I've ever watched. Like, it was still probably like just a below average film, if I'm being objective. But personally, I thought it was boring, man. I didn't even know who the mole was at the end, and I thought, I don't even care who the mole was. You know, it was just like silliness. It was just like so boring. You know. But yeah, each to their own, I suppose, with that. And then what other war films are there? Platoon's very good, but it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's really moving and powerful, but it's just a bit. It just paints a lot of the American soldiers as scumbags, and it's like, well, a lot of them. I'm not justifying what happened, but I just feel like I'm sure there was some scumbags, but it's like there's a lot of people who were just forced to go to war and didn't want to. So it felt like one of those types of films. It was still great, but it just felt like it was very kind of against America, which I didn't really like. Me personally, I didn't like it anyway. I didn't like that aspect of it, but it was very well made and objectively quite a good film. What other war films are out there? 1917. You like that one, bro? That's great. And Fury. That's another great film.
Is 1917? Is that Christopher Nolan? Or
nah? I'll quickly get up. I don't think
he did Dunkirk, didn't he?
Yeah, that was boring. That was absolutely boring. One of the most overrated films I've ever watched. I was bored and annoyed by the end of it. 1917, it was Sam Mendes. But yeah, Dunkirk's another one I watched. I thought none of the characters interested me. The story didn't interest me at all. I was just like, what is the point of all this? Fury's great though. That's on Amazon Prime. I think you'd enjoy that one.
I think I remember we had that one on. I don't know if I watched all of it. I might have watched most of it. I don't know. Personally, I'm not going to lie. I don't know. It was kind of. I definitely prefer Hacksaw Ridge to that.
Okay.
I think it's just the fact that as well, like, you've got the main character who's kind of like he's like, you know, having a hard time, like Andrew Garfield's character, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I kind of really don't like a lot of the characters around him. Just the way
they're
they are.
Quite.
You know.
I think Brad Pitt's okay, and I like Bible, but I thought Buddy Gordo was a bit. I get what they were trying to do with him, but I just didn't think he was very good in it. And bloody what's his name? John Berthnall's character.
Yeah, he was one of the scummiest. Yeah.
Yeah, I know in the end they all sort of like become mates, but it's kind of forced. And I was quite annoyed at how he acted in some bits as well, especially when that girl that the main character got killed by the building falling on her, and he's just like, "Oh man, I fucked." I just thought, bro, what's wrong with this hillbilly hick? What the hell's that all about? I just thought he was so heartless and weird. But I suppose it's just meant to show you that all soldiers aren't heroes. There are people who are just roped into war and they're just like cold-bloody morons. I thought it was a great film, though. I thought it was like a solid 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer Hacksaw Ridge as well, to be honest. Thing is, with war films, as much as I've read about them and gone into detail about them, I don't really think they're. I don't know. I feel like when it all just takes place at war, I feel like it just feels a bit samey. But when you have half the film like in normal public life and then back to war, I feel like it's more interesting.
Yeah, I think it probably just served the film better. Yeah, like, because you've got that character building and the character arc and I suppose there's that payoff too, you know.
Yeah.
And I suppose it helps, you know, as much as, like, say, you might not enjoy the first half as much, like, in the sense that because of how maybe, like, the fact that Desmond's having a hard time and you feel for him and a lot of the other people around him are like scumbags, really. You know, but you know, but I suppose it's still, as much as, like, I might not like to watch stuff like that, it's necessary, I guess, and it is
Yeah.
a true story. So I guess a lot of it did happen. But I was I've just got a few more things to say about
Oh, yeah,
films.
fair.
That's all right. 'Cause I always make like notes as well, like on films I watch and review notes and whatever. But yeah, like I say, I thought it was a top tier film. I thought great performances from everyone, especially Andrew Garfield. Just trying to look at what else we haven't said really. Yeah, his dad. Of course, he's like I said, he's a drunk. He's an alcoholic. You can see that he likes his brother more, and he kind of makes that known. And there's that scene where they're at the cemetery, where he kind of makes that known to Desmond as well. And then what else have we got? Yeah, of course, he's treated terribly by his superiors and his fellow soldiers, and like we said, a group of them even badly beat him up at one point, which you just think, why? It's like, why would you do that? It's terrible. And then, of course, in the morning, the captain shows up and sees the state he's in, but then he doesn't really seem to care that he's more interested really in him leaving, because and he only said about, can you name any of the people who did this to you, because he decided to stay, and he said that he did, and he said he didn't, and and well, I suppose he sort of remained composed, I guess, and just wants to keep going, which was in a way it's admirable, but it's I think it'd be difficult not to just be really angry about what's just happened and really sort of shook up by it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. But basically, the first half really sort of basically everyone in the army fought to scumbags, really. And then I think Doss is Desmond is an inspiring character. What else have we got? And yeah, of course, the Schmitty ends up getting killed eventually, doesn't he? But he does take out a lot of Japanese soldiers in the process. And they do have a hot heart, really, don't they? Him and Desmond at one point.
When they're on the night watch, yeah.
Yeah, because Desmond said about going out to see if there's any more soldiers to save or something. I guess as well, you could argue as well the fact that they were having a hot heart. You think like Desmond might survive, but then with the other character like Schmitty, you could kind of think, oh, he might not survive then, the other character, perhaps, if they're doing this. And he didn't, in the end, and he wasn't able to save him, unlike a lot of the others. But he grew to be, one of the better people, maybe one of the more likable characters, talking about his upbringing as well.
Yeah, how he was an orphan and all that. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, so he had no parents around. More of what his parents were like and his dad, and we see that flashback of his dad hitting his mom or something, and then he comes in and he's like wrestling the gun off his dad and then pointing the gun at him. And yeah, like I said, the soundtrack's great, I think, especially in the second half. And yeah, fellow soldiers come to respect him and his bravery. And of course, he risked his life still to save as many as he could without firing the gun. And then when he comes down as well after, all the soldiers are there, aren't they? And they're all shooting the Japanese at the top to help him, and they're all just looking at him. And I was going to say, in that last gunfight as well, I thought there's some beautiful cinematography as well, like really well shot, like with some of the shots of the weapons and and like shots of like their like feet as well and whatever. And of course, when he kicks away the grenade. And I liked as well, I guess, how the film's mostly. It is kind of refreshing to see, like, even if a film as recent as this, like, that's more practical, it sort of uses more practical, maybe locations, sets, effects. Like, you could see the odd, like, maybe CGI effect where maybe it was necessary, and you can kind of tell that perhaps, like, maybe not as much the budget might have been put into those, but it still was fine. You know, it was fine. It worked. And I think it adds to the realism as well, with it being more practical. But yeah, like I said, overall, spectacular film with some of the most raw and violent scenery I've seen in a war film or any film, while proving to be inspiring and emotionally impactful. And I'll give it a 9 out of 10 as well. So,
Bravo, we both completely agree on film for once. Crazy. I was worried that you were going to say, well, I enjoyed his arc, but I found it all quite boring.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not boring.
7.5 out of 10. Good day.
No, that was not boring.
Obviously, you rated it as much as I do, so pretty cool.
No, yeah.
Well,
definitely one of the best films I've seen in a while. Yeah.
Would you say that's probably the best film I've recommended to you?
Could well be.
I'm
yeah.
glad about that.
Yeah.
Like I always say, you win some, you lose some, and you win some this time.
Big win this time compared to that other time.
Most of the time, it's like average film, good film,
or like decent.
Average, good film. But this time it was like yes, it got an official yes rating. So yes, as in like a salute of respect, not yes as in excited about a film like that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm glad that for ages I haven't done a yes in the over exaggerated way. Kept it up for quite a few months now, so hopefully I keep it up for even longer.
I hope so.
I think obviously George has took the place of going yes in an over exaggerated, high pitched way.
It's crazy how things have changed.
Yeah, I thought it would just be an end to it, and then him going yes in a high pitched way. It's like making me, I'm thinking, don't do it.
Yes, he's too much. Yeah.
He keeps trying to rope me into it.
Yes.
But I think it is even funnier that George is doing it out of nowhere. Sometimes for absolutely no reason, and I'm just trying not to do it. I'm like, I think that's a lot more funny than me just going yes and doing daft impressions. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on to The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. So, this film is quite an interesting one. So it starts off with this murder scene happening, and you're like, it's so sad and brutal. Richard Kimball's wife getting beaten to death with a ball, with a hard, solid ball. It's just horrible. And Richard's wrestling the man and all this stuff, and you're thinking, what's going on? This is madness. This is so horrible. And you get some cool flashbacks with them at the party and them together, and you do feel quite sorry for them because you think they really got along. They're really nice husband and wife together, and then now it's all just been ruined out of nowhere. Not only was it ruined, the police think that he did it, and then at the courthouse where they're doing his trial, see the flashbacks, but you can also see, like you can see how it actually played out, where she's just sort of asking Richard for help while she's dying on the phone to 911. And obviously that evil bloke with the mechanical arm, he just bloody runs away. And Richard gets the blame because his wife's absolutely her family's minted, so he would have been the beneficiary for that one. And I would just think it was just him trying to get loads of money, even though he's already well off. I guess the police just wanted someone to blame. And obviously the murderer with the mechanical arm, he on his left hand, he used a glove. So, of course, his bloody DNA is not going to be on the gun. And if it's the gun that bloody Richard owns, of course his DNA is going to be on the gun, isn't it? The bloody numpties in court. Like he's took it there and he's put it down and probably messes with it sometimes. Of course his DNA is going to be on there. Did they never think that some person might be wearing a clear plastic glove? I don't know. Daft, absolutely daft from the courthouse. I'm very sad. I didn't realise the start of the film to when he's in court and being taken in the prison bus. That like takes place over a year. I thought it was like a week after he killed her. But obviously, trials aren't done that quickly, are they?
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Because I swear on the phone when he talks to that bloke who I think he's meant to be an American bloke, but he's played by a Dutchman, and you can tell he's not an American guy the way he talks, but he's trying his best.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, well, you can hear his accent. I don't know whether he's meant to be American or not, but yeah.
I might look up. Is that character supposed to be American? But yeah. So he ends up in the prison bus, and this bloke's pretending to foam at the mouth, so the police guard will open up the door to where the prisoners are sitting on the bus, and then he bloody just tries to kill him, and so he can get out of the cuff, and then that they shoot him, and then it's just all a big bust up, and it's quite wild. Richard Kimball's trying to help one of the prison officers out, and the big fat lazy prison officer is just like, "Yeah, good luck, you assholes," and he just climbs out the window. I think, bloody hell, I didn't think he didn't give a shit about his colleagues. What an evil scumbag! He never gets his comeuppance. That's frustrating. They should have bloody shot him. Well,
the fat one.
Yeah, the fat one who takes credit for everything in the bloody news interview. That was frustrating.
Oh yeah, but then after it's like it's basically they find out that he's lying, didn't they?
Yeah. They're like vaporized, huh? And it's like they get all the prisoner gear that's been broken out of. It's quite funny. But yeah. So Tommy Lee Jones rolls up, and he's just him and his crew. I just love the banter between them all, how quick and how on top of it all he is, and he's exercising his authority because he's the governor bloke. He comes from the governor's office or whatever it is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I enjoyed how he figures everything out, and I just like how he talks and how he's on top of everything, and he just loves his job. He just wants to be successful in catching whoever he needs to catch. But also you're really rooting for Richard. You want him to do well. Basically, he's going to get killed, otherwise he's going to get the lethal injection for something that he didn't do. And obviously you're rooting for Richard, but I respect Gerard's hustle anyway. I do respect that an awful lot. He goes to a hospital and steals an old man's food, so I suppose that's a bit of a crime, isn't it? And then he shaves his beard to look.
Well, yeah, he's doing what he can to survive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs to eat something, doesn't he? And I like the bit. It's established straight away how clever this bloke is, how next level intelligent this guy is, because he says something like, he's got this thing wrong with him, and then he pushes the thing on his mouth, and he might have not had that specific thing wrong with it, but I can't remember which bit it was, to be honest. But it's when he goes back to the hospital and he thinks like the police officer's going to point him out to him, and like I say, he just pushes that thing on his mouth, and then they're all just baffled. Like, how does he know that was what was actually wrong with him? So that bit was pretty cool. And yeah, he just steals an ambulance and drives off. I also like the bit when he's cornered in the tunnel, and you're like, what's he going to do? And then he goes down the like the drain area, like the opening in the ground, and then he runs around, and then he gets the upper hand on Tommy Lee Jones, and he gets a gun, and he's like, I didn't kill my wife, and he's like, I don't care. And then Richard Kimball ends up at a dead end with Tommy Lee Jones. He points a gun at him, and he's like, freeze, hands in the air, all that jazz. And you think, damn, how's he going to get out of this one? But he jumped 62 feet into the water. That effect looked pretty funny and crazy. And I mean, I think the highest heights that people can jump and survive is like divers. I swear, isn't it like 40 feet or something?
I don't know.
I'm looking it up now. Pardon me. Oh, dive and survive. It said bloody 1,000 feet there. I'm on about dive without dying. Oh, it says no single safe height has survivability. Depends on factors like water depth, entry position, and technique. However, some professional divers have survived 89 platform jumps. Oh, okay. So, and I swear Richard Kimball's was 62 feet. How high was Richard Kimball dive? Let's have a look. Oh, so 120 feet is the maximum survivable height that you can jump from, performed by divers. Richard Kimball's dive was 185 feet. That's how the bloke who's like 55 or 52 bloody jump all that height. He's not a diver and he survived. He was able to walk and run off. And it's oh well, I guess it's just stretching reality. But it would have been a bit depressing if he just died.
Yeah,
it would have been like, well, that was a bit of a boring film. So you got to stretch reality a bit, I suppose. There.
Yeah.
But it was an epic scene anyway. Shows how he'd rather basically die, like jumping into off that ledge. He'd rather just die than get killed for something that he didn't do. So I respect that. I'd be the same, bro. I'd rather jump into the water and die than bloody get a lethal injection for something I know I didn't do, but obviously I've been found guilty of. So I can't blame him at all. And he survived, so woo woo. And obviously they were like, he's dead, he's dead. Come on, why would you want to look for him? And he said, and then Gerard's like, well, if he's dead, that'll make him easier to catch. But yeah, what do you think of the intro and all the stuff in the film so far?
Yeah, no, yeah, I like the intro. Yeah, I suppose I like how it starts with like the flashes of his wife being killed, and I think there's like shots of like the skyscrapers in, was it Chicago or something? I think it's set in Chicago. And then it's basically the trial, isn't it? And then yeah, of course they're on the bus, and then yeah, I suppose I know there's the other prisoner who escapes, and he sort of he escapes, and then Harrison Ford's trying to get one of the prison officers or whatever out, and I think he manages to get him out. I think he survives. And then he eventually meets up with the other prisoner, not too long after. So I think he helps him. I don't know whether Harrison Ford's hanging off something or whatever, or he helps him up or something. The other one, and then he sort of they go their separate ways, and he just disappears. Then the other one, and then yeah, like you say, it leads to the tunnel and all that sequence. But yeah, it's just cool. You know, Tommy Lee Jones shows up, doesn't he, with his crew, and but it's at the same time though, I think it's entertaining. Like, I think it is quite. I like the sort of camaraderie between Tommy Lee Jones and his colleagues.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Because, like you say, he enjoys his job, but at the same time, they're kind of, I don't know. There's a bit of like a, I don't know. It's probably more of like a friendly, humorous relationship. But
yeah.
But yeah, this is entertaining, and you know, I think Tommy Lee Jones is entertaining, and yeah, that sequence like in the tunnel as well, where he's chasing after Richard Kimball, is because Kimball manages to get down that bit in the tunnel, whereas Tommy Lee Jones' character Gerard, he ends up sliding down the water bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then of course he drops his one of his guns, and Kimball ends up taking it, and he has him like he has the advantage briefly, but of course Tommy Lee Jones, he's got another gun, And that's like the first sort of face-to-face encounter they have, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then then he's caught. Then he's kind of cornered on the edge, and he jumps off. And of course, this is part of like the sort of the arc in a way, the development between the two, because there's still no evidence that they still haven't found the evidence or anything to suggest that he didn't kill his wife, and Tommy Lee Jones doesn't care. I guess in a way because he enjoys his job, but at the same time, he just doesn't care that he's adamant that he hasn't killed his wife. Surely that should maybe count for something. But then of course he just jumps off, doesn't he? And again, like you could say, that's maybe a bit. Perhaps it is sort of like a bit unrealistic. But I mean, maybe someone could survive. Like he got lucky, but
I mean the max. You don't know. We don't really know how much humans can survive when it comes to jumping into water. We don't really know. It's just the maximum that a diver survives. So in theory, maybe Harrison Ford could have survived that. Maybe we're not just diving high enough, but it's probably not worth the risk.
Yeah, I guess he landed in the right place. And
he landed on a big whale's belly.
And then just after, Tommy Lee Jones's colleagues are like, "Sure, he's got to be dead by now." Basically, they don't want to try and go after him anymore. They're pretty sure he's dead, or they want to believe he's dead, so they don't have to bother with this anymore. But Tommy Lee Jones is like, "No, what did he say? He said he's easier to catch if he's dead or whatever."
Yeah, exactly.
And he still really wants to find him. He just wants to find him, And so then they sort of like reluctantly like, "All right then," and but no, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Fair. So after that, he goes back to Chicago instead of just running off into the middle of nowhere. He gets money off of his colleague. What's his name? The bad guy, the one who rigs it all. Charles Nichols, that's it.
Yeah.
So he gets money off of Charles Nichols. And basically, it's interesting now. You don't suspect that he's the one behind everything at first because he defends his mate and he says, "Richard is a very smart man. Smarter than me." No, sorry, they say to him, "Smarter than you, doctor." Smarter. So that was pretty cool, so you don't really suspect him. And he gave Richard a few dollars as well. So he does seem like a friend at first. And I like as well how, when he makes a phone call to his lawyer as well. And I like how they piece the scene together. They're like, "Oh, right, okay, I can hear bells in the background. I can hear a train. Right, rewind that. Play the call again. I can hear that it's the train to this place. So because it's the train to that place, he must be on this street." So they figure it all out, even just by listening to parts of the phone call, listening to the background noise. That scene was pretty entertaining. But I like how Richard Kimball, he's not just going on the run like you'd expect criminals to. Convicted criminals to. Obviously, he didn't actually do it, but he was convicted of it. All he's trying to do is prove his innocence, which makes sense, all while battling grief. Although he doesn't vent about the grief and how sad he is. You got to admire the character for like still getting through everything and still one-upping absolutely everyone when he's in this weakened state where he's not drinking much water, he's not eating, and he's still like 10 steps ahead of everyone, and he's still trying to do good stuff along the way. Like when he pretends to be the cleaner at the hospital and he's looking at all the prosthetic arms and trying to look at all the patient's stuff to see if he can find the one-armed man and get pieces to get closer to him. It's just interesting, like there's that kid who seriously hurt his chest in a sport accident or whatever it was, and he looks at the x-ray, and then the ginger lady comes up and has a go at him and says, "You saved his life," basically. But sorry, she doesn't tell him he saved his life. She just said, "Why are you looking at our x-rays and all this stuff?" And then she tries to get the security after him, and he just escapes. And I like the scene where he goes to prison as well, to see if he could find the correct one-armed man who killed his wife. And straight away he's like, "I'm sorry, you're not the person I'm looking for." And then the chase starts because Tommy Lee Jones sees him in there as well. And then I love the bit. One of my favourite moments that Richard Kimball does is when he says there's a man in a blue coat waving a gun, screaming at a woman, and then he's like, "Get over!" and they all grab him, and he's like, "No, let go of me, let go of me!" And then Richard Kimball just walking away. That was such a brilliant, witty scene. How he's just one-upping everyone, and he didn't even care. He's just thinking, "How can I get out of this?" He didn't care about being the smartest, coolest bloke in the room. He's just thinking, "How can I get out of this one?" And then he gets trapped in the door, and then he's like going at the glass, which is pretty scary for Richard. And then Richard escapes in the Irish parade, which was hilarious. I like the scene where they go after the bald prisoner as well. The one who says to Richard Kimball, "Don't follow me. Don't ask where I'm going, and you won't know." He says something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they go to his house where he's with his missus. And it's just a cool way that it shows how they operate in a smart way. You got some of them pretending to be drunk homeless, and then they just bust into the house. And he has a gun to one of his colleagues' heads, and he's like, I'll shoot him, let me go, or I'll shoot him. And then Tommy Lee Jones is listening to try and see where he is, like on the wall, and then he just shoots him in the head. And then the bloke whose life he saved, he's like, I might be deaf after you did. Oh, sorry, no, he doesn't shoot through the wall. He goes through one of the doors and shoots the bloke in the head. And he said, you could have shot me, and my ear isn't, I can't hear very well now with this ear. And he says, why didn't you bargain with him? It's my life. And he says, can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear this? Yep. What about this? He goes, yep. He goes, I don't bargain. And he just walks off. That's like one of the chattiest moves ever. And then when that high up person's on the phone to him and he's saying, well, I can tell you, sir, he was going to shoot one of my kids. Well, blame me, sir. I'm the one who shot him. And he just put the phone down. That was legendary. I just found that scene quite funny. It's like you feel, well, I certainly feel like that doing that at work sometimes when gaffers bloody question your decisions at times. Like, yeah, blame me, and just put the phone down. Brilliant. But yeah, that scene was cool. And obviously Richard Kimball having to hide in that basement, and then you think he's got caught. You think, crap, the law's caught up with him. But it's actually that Polish woman's kids who get arrested, and then Richard goes back on the run again. Back on the run. So all that was pretty cool. What do you think of all that jazz?
No, yeah, I think stuff really starts to ramp up. Just trying to think. Yeah, like you say, you don't suspect Nichols of being the mastermind behind it all. Really, so that's an effective twist. Because he's one of Kimball's best friends, I guess, one of his closest friends. And with the way he acts and how he's defending him every time and whatever. And to be fair, I was convinced that he wasn't, behind it all, but he was. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we haven't spoke about, but I'd forgot, to be fair, that the other prisoner from the start who ran off did appear again later on, because they break into his house, don't they?
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but yes, that was interesting. And yeah, like you say, Tom Lee Jones shoots the one. Does he kill the prisoner? Is it the prisoner?
He kills the prisoner.
Yeah, because he has the other one. He's got the other one in a chokehold, doesn't he, or something like that? I don't know. Or he's got, I think. But yeah, he's saying, the other one's saying about how he could have, said about we should have done this or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, some good stuff there. And like you say as well, the bit where like they meet again when they're in the police station or whatever, when Tommy Lee Jones finally notices Harrison and he's chasing him down the stairs, and then he uses, Harrison's running away, and then he's, like you say, he's saying about there's a man, whatever, shooting or causing a disturbance or something, and the police officers are trying to gets Tommy Lee Jones, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, "No, I'm with you, whatever." And
Yeah.
that ended up being like a tense scene as well, because he's trying to get to the exit and the doors are closing, but they don't close fast enough, and he just about kind of managed to squeeze through, and then his foot's stuck in the door, and Tommy Lee Jones is shooting the door, shooting the glass a few times, and which is like I say, it's scary for him, but it was also, I think, quite good scene, a tense scene, and I don't know, yeah, I think, I guess things just really start to get better and ramp up, like you say as well. The stuff like where Tommy Lee Jones Gerard is working with his team and figuring out where he is and all that is cool as well. And it's just, I think it's just good to see a lot of interactions between him and his team, his colleagues, and just how they bounce off each other and the humor and whatever too.
Yeah.
So.
So I was going to say as well, I liked how, he figures it out and starts putting stuff together. He goes to Andy Sykes' house, or Andrew Sykes, sorry, or whatever his name is. Or is he just called Sykes? Can't remember, but he goes to his house.
Frederick Sykes.
Oh, Frederick Sykes, yeah. He goes to his house and he rings up the police station and he says, remember what you said to me in the tunnels? Yeah, Richard, remember what I said to you in the tunnels? He says, yeah, Richard, I remember you said something about that you didn't kill your wife. And he goes, and remember what you said? No. And he's like, you said you don't care. And he's like, you're right, Richard, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not trying to solve a puzzle. Well, I am. And I've just found a pretty big piece. And then he pretends to put the phone down and they go to Frederick Sykes' house. That was pretty cool. What else was interesting? I like how, they interrogate him, which is pretty cool. It's mad how corrupt this whole thing was, though. Like, Frederick Sykes says that, like, bloody 15 people testified that he was in a different state on that day. He physically couldn't have killed her. And it's like, how much was Devlin McGregor paying people off to lie and basically ruin some man's life? Like, that's crazy. And it's so sad that the reason why Nichols... Oh, yeah, Nichols isn't American, by the way. He's actually meant to be a Dutch person in the film as well. Which I didn't know. I thought he was meant to be some American bloke. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference, obviously. He's still a great villain. But yeah, so they were trying to make this drug called Provasic. And Richard Kimball was like, it causes severe liver damage, so I'm not going to sign off on it. And obviously so that's why Nichols wanted to kill Richard, but instead of killing Richard, his wife was there first, so that's why he ended up killing. That's why Sykes ended up killing Richard's wife. And it's crazy how it worked out better that way for Nichols, but obviously in the long run it didn't work out well because Richard just doesn't give up. He just does not quit. He will not quit. He'll keep trying and trying and trying and grafting, trying to think ahead of absolutely everyone else, even when all the odds and everything are against him. What else was I going to say about it? But yeah, I like how he all puts it together, and the Tommy Lee Jones's people are starting to listen, but obviously all the rest of the police force think that Richard Kimball's a killer. I like how Nichols actually sends Sykes after him. And it's so funny that Sykes is like, all right, get up and move. And then the police officer comes in and goes, Kimball, you're under arrest. And then Sykes shoots the police officer. And then Kimball fights Sykes and beats him up and handcuffs him, which was pretty cool. Then obviously he's got to run off and he goes into the science bill, at the doctor conference, and he gives Charles Nichols a massive bollocking for what he did, which was pretty cool. And then they have a big fight, which was a great scene. And Tommy Lee Jones comes in and he's like, tell him to stop shooting. Sir, why? Because I don't want to get shot, which was pretty cool. I just like the way he said it. I don't want to get shot, which I don't blame him for not wanting to get shot. What else happens? Oh yeah, so Nichols and Kimball throw down. Nichols knocks out Cosmo, and he's about to get the jump on Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is saying, "Richard, you got nowhere else to run. I know you're innocent, but everyone else out there thinks you're a cop killer. So you need to come with me now." And you think, what is Richard going to do? Does he trust him or not? What the hell is going to happen? Richard really has nowhere else to go, but does he just want to kill Nichols? And then Nichols is going to like shoot Tommy Lee Jones or attack him or whatever. And then Richard whacks him with the iron bar. And Tommy Lee Jones takes Richard away and then gets him in the car and gives him some what was it? A bag of cold peas or something to put on his hands, or an ice pack or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
then,
I think it's doing an ice pack or something.
Yeah, and he just says to him, "I thought you didn't care." And he goes, "I don't, but don't tell anyone." And I thought, yeah, you know what? Intense, sad film, and still bittersweet because Richard still had his life for him, like his wife's been killed. But you know what? He never gave up. He gave it his all, and he proved to everyone through a ridiculous amount of effort and bloody fearful, difficult situations while grieving, and that he didn't actually kill his wife. And I'm glad that it's just a long, just a solid 2 hour, 2 hour film, 2 hour, 10-minute film, just all about a crime situation. And Richard Kimball, like, I'm glad that there wasn't any aftermath. You don't see Richard Kimball and Tommy Lee Jones having a beer afterwards. I'm glad it just ended there. You know, I just like the way it was done. 9 out of 10, amazing film. Really enjoyed it. But yeah,
I suppose, I suppose that makes sense. The ending, like, there's, I suppose, the decent amount of films that, like, especially older films that kind of end that kind of quickly in that way. I guess in this case it works. I'm not going to lie. I feel like with some of these films, as much as I like them, I feel like I'd want to see a bit more at the end. But it's fine, you know. I suppose there's not really much more to do there, really, with this one.
I was just going to quickly say, I do agree, like, for Hacksaw Ridge, for example, because there was a lot of character relationships, like family relationships, and then his romantic relationship with Dorothy. I would have liked to see more of that. But with Harrison Ford, he had no friends at the end. It's just, he's all alone, so there's not really much point, you know, in him, in having some sort of resolve. I don't know. It would have been cool if they just said "F you" to the police, to that silly police officer that kept saying "Richard Kimball's guilty." You know, it would have been funny if he just went "Fuck you." You know, that would have been quite. That would have been. That's probably the only thing I would have wanted to. The only extra bit I would have wanted in there. Apart from that, I think they did it fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this is also a great film. Pretty much, I think, a top tier film as well, like Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, just going to go off the notes I made again. So a great thriller with stellar performances from Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford. I liked the score in this one too. I like the soundtrack. The plot was captivating. There's plenty of tension, suspense, which maintain the intrigue of the film. I thought it was well paced and well edited too. All of these factors keep you interested, and the film never feels slow or boring again, which is good. Because I feel like there's even films which I really like, which they can have maybe like slow scenes, segments that, you know, it might take a bit to sort of like get going. But I feel like with these two films, like, that hasn't really been the case. What else have I said? I said before, like I said, I enjoyed the camaraderie between Tommy Lee Jones and his colleagues. I think Jones and Ford meet face to face 3 times. Do they? I think it's 3 times they actually meet face to face, because I think the first time is in that tunnel.
Oh yeah.
Where Harrison Ford jumps off. The second time is in the police station where he narrowly escapes through the door, and then in the climax where he saves Tommy Lee Jones. And I thought, each of these scenes are very impactful. Jones slips up in the first encounter, literally as well, I guess, really. Allowing Ford to grab his gun, and I've already talked about that. And then, like you said, like, Kimberly's really smart, and yeah, he leads Jones, he leads Gerard and his crew to Frederick Sykes' house, who was the actual killer of Kimball's wife, where there's, I guess, some evidence which allows Gerard to start really realizing that Kimball is innocent. What else have we got? Yeah, that was it really. And there was one little thing I thought I noticed in the film, in the St. Patrick's Day parade. I don't know if it was a blooper or not, but if you remember, Kimball removes his coat when he's in the parade, and I don't know what happens to the coat then. I don't know whether he's somehow given it to someone else who he's walking with or what, but it seems like he just removes his coat, and then when it cuts back to him after a few I think different shots, it's the coat seemingly disappeared. Like I'm not sure what's happened there with the coat. I don't know.
That's a good spot. I never know
because he took the coat off, and I was thinking, what's happened to the coat? Because I don't know. I don't remember anyone else wearing it, so I'm just thinking. But at the same time, if he just dropped it on the floor, I don't know whether that would have been something that Tommy Lee Jones might have noticed. But at the same time, I don't know. It just seemed like a little bit, perhaps like a tiny potential plot hole, if you could call it that. I don't know, but I mean, aside from that, I mean, I thought it's definitely a rewatchable film. I think it's probably more rewatchable than Hacksaw Ridge, because it's more like, Hacksaw Ridge is based on a true story, and it's quite, it can be a difficult watch at times and whatever. But whereas with this, it's like a thriller, and it's quite, entertaining, and it's not too like, it's not as like, I don't know what's the word. It's not as like raw and serious in a way as like Hacksaw Ridge, I suppose. And yeah, I think it's another classic, really. So, like, I suppose, like Die Hard, for example. So I think, yeah, another 9 out of 10.
Damn, brilliant. We both agreed on those ones completely then. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We hopefully have got a podcast going down on Sunday. I won't spoil what it is, but I want to save a fair few segments for then instead, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Just because I've got to get up early tomorrow. And I feel like what we react to won't take a crazy long time. But when it comes to talking about films, it can take quite a while. So I'm going to nicely end the podcast there. Anything? Oh, hold on. Sorry, before I end it, I did want to get something up quickly. Where the bloody hell is it? Is there anything you want to say while I get the thing up? I was
going to say, I forgot to say that I don't know whether you know, but Mel Gibson directed Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, I mean, he did a fantastic job with that one. Then fair play.
Yeah, and I know he has directed. I think he directed Braveheart as well, didn't he? But
no, I don't think he.
I know he's the main character, but I thought he directed it too. I'm not sure, but
I honestly don't think he directed it. To be honest, I'll check who the director was though, because as much as the film's a bit historically inaccurate and a bit too biased, shit, he directed it. Bloody hell!
I still haven't watched it, to be fair. I need to watch it.
Bro, yeah, it's on Disney Plus. That'd be a good one to review, because they are the thing is, and like, I'm a big fan of Scotland. I think it's a cool place. But obviously both the Scottish and the English were pretty mean to each other and did pretty horrendous things. And William Wallace did do some horrible things. I feel like they were just both as bad as each other. But obviously that wouldn't have been as much of a fun, marketable film, would it, if you had Mel Gibson being evil as well? You have to have a hero in it, don't you? So as much as it's historically inaccurate in it, and I don't know, I just wish they might put a disclaimer saying some of this stuff is exaggerated. But however, it's not the word. Like, if you look into history, you know what actually went down. I think for the sake of the film, you have to have a hero, and the Scots have to be the hero in the film. So yeah, but it's an amazing film, bro. Solid, potentially like a 9 out of 10, maybe like an 8.5.
I was going to say as well, actually. Do you know that there is technically a sequel to The Fugitive as well?
To the what?
Do you know that there's technically a sequel to The Fugitive?
Oh no, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's called U.S. Marshals. Came out in 1998. It has been on TV a few times as well, and I've watched the whole of that pretty much as well.
Any good?
I think so. I don't know whether it's as good as The Fugitive. I'd have to probably rewatch it again, but I remember it being probably a decent to good time.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones is in it again, and I think pretty much all of his colleagues are in it. But there's a few other different
Just no
characters
Kimball.
and actors. Yeah. So.
I mean, it's not given the best rating, but I might just give it a watch just to see those characters having a laugh. I'm guessing the writing's not as good, but is what it is.
But there's some other like big names in it too. So yeah.
I was just going to get this up. So this was a brilliant video. I really enjoyed this one. Obviously, I haven't watched it, but this is the James Banterous account. It's not my regular account that I use to watch things on. I don't know. I must have just watched these randomly. Oh no, I remember what I did. I think I put them on in the background when I was uploading something or what have you. As like a backup. Oh, well, there you go. I was giving you some views there.
That's right.
But yeah,
appreciated.
But yeah, with this was a brilliant video. I hope if anyone watches the end of this podcast, I hope you all check this out because it's. I mean, obviously, it's great that all these other videos have done quite well, but it's just frustrating that this is another great one and it hasn't done the best. But I suppose you win some, you lose some, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. I know there's like more features that YouTube have released since as well that meant to sort of push your videos more. So
yeah,
maybe I should experiment with some of those from time to time. I don't know because I've never really tried them. So
yeah, that's fair enough. Guess we can nicely wrap up there then. Liam, as always, thank you very much for your time. All we got to say for today. Take care. All the best. God bless.
Bye.